If you're a solopreneur or a small business owner looking to scale, you are in the right place today, baby. Maybe you've just started out and you haven't even made your very first sale, and maybe you're doubting yourself. Perhaps you had early success and then hit a slump and you're struggling. Or you might already be a 6 or 7 figure entrepreneur looking to add another digit and break through to the next level. Get ready, y'all. Today we're talking about scale strategies to increase your income and skyrocket your success.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Kingdom Builders Academy podcast. It is so good to be with you guys and to be talking to our entrepreneurs, our small business owners, our startups, and our scalers. We're excited to dive into some fresh teaching and revelation today. So Coach Tam, why don't you kick us off? What comes to mind for you on this topic?
Well, it's a great topic. I love this topic and I could talk about it all day. I think where I would start in talking about this is I think I would start with the startups. I think I would start with the solopreneurs who maybe have just kicked things off. They have an idea. They've stepped out in faith. Maybe they're undercapitalized. It's usually they don't have all the money that they would like to do all the things that they want to do. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of advice for you. And I will tell you that I know a lot about this subject. I've been writing my own paycheck basically all of my life. Beginning from, now I was writing my parents' paycheck at this time, but I was a paid public speaker at 4 years old. My parents discovered I had a little bit of a gift. And so they put me on the speaker circuit from when I was very young. And then when I was in my late teens, I did a couple of different things. I had some little jobs while I was in college and in my early 20s, but really from my 20s on, now it's been over 40 years, I've been writing my own paycheck. And I'll tell you this, is that I've never taken a penny in investment money. I built $100 million a year business, never taking a penny of outside capital. I've done things in the nonprofit world. I'm right now the president, excuse me, Zack, you're the president of Kingdom Builders Academy. I'm a CEO and founder of Kingdom Builders Academy. Never taken a penny of investment money, and I've scaled as I've gone. And I think that is some wise advice. If you already are very well capitalized or you've got a partner, nothing wrong with that at all. But if you're just starting off, I would say bootstrap it a little bit, baby. This is good for you because there are going to be times in your business that there will be crunches, there will be market changes, things will shift in the economy, maybe consumer spending will slow down. And it's good for you to know how to scale back without it being really painful for you. And it's good for you to learn how to reinvest the money that's coming in and draw out a little bit of profit. So that's not a bad thing at all. I think that's actually a very good thing. Now, I will say to our new business owners, maybe our solopreneurs in the house who are listening today, is that you're going to have to sell something. And I tell you that, I mean, that sounds like, oh, okay, everybody would know that. But no, not everybody does. I remember when I had my first group of clients, 12 people, very, very smart, very smart. And I remember about maybe a month in to working with me, we were meeting by Zoom. And no, actually, that was even before Zoom. We were meeting by teleconference, and then we moved to Zoom because I do remember I saw their faces. Actually, we weren't even using Zoom. It was a different platform, but it was a webinar type platform. And there they were, all in front of me, all beautiful, put together. And I said, okay, well, now we're going to launch something. We're going to sell something. And they all just looked like deer in the headlight. They looked so shocked. And I said, you guys do realize you're going to have to sell stuff, right? You're going to have to sell things in order to make money. And they were all just sort of paralyzed. And so for those of you who are just starting off, the number one thing that I think that you really need to focus on is your offer. What is it that you're putting out there, and to put a reasonable price tag on it? Because if you put a little cheap price tag on it, $9, $19, $30, $50, that's not going to be enough to bridge the gap. So I would say to start, with a high ticket offer. Now, it's okay to offer something at a smaller price as long as it's leading to something at a higher price. Now, I'm coming from the perspective of mainly training communicators and messengers. But even in a brick and mortar type of situation, I say, if you can sell, you can sell, you can sell. So if you can sell athletic shoes, you can sell boats. If you can sell books, you can sell cars. If you can sell cosmetics, you can sell real estate. So what you sell as a small business owner is really up to you. The price that you put on it is really up to you. And so I would encourage you to think about what your product suite is, what your services are, and say, okay, how can I bump this sale? How can I look for the higher level of clientele who can afford it? Now, Jesus said something, and I'm going to paraphrase Jesus, and I'm going to tell you that, yes, it's true that the poor you always have with you. You're always going to have broke people, but the rich you always have with you too. The well-off you always have with you too. And I would say to craft an offer that's directed to them. As Christians, I think we all have a heart for ministry. We have a heart for the downtrodden. We care about those who are struggling and who are suffering. But as business owners, in order to have resources to channel toward the things that you're passionate about, you really need to be going after a higher level of consumer. All right, so that's where I'm going to kick things off. And I have more advice for those of you who are scaling. Maybe you've gotten a little bit of success. Maybe you're in a slump. Maybe you are in a higher echelon. One of my students in Kingdom Builders Academy, his name is Brian Boucher. I was just talking to him the other day. When I met him, and I'm going to share this testimony before I pass off to my co-host. When I met him, this was a young guy. He was maybe, 26, 27 years old. He had recently graduated from law school and landed his dream job as an anchorman, a news anchorman with Glenn Beck. And just as quickly as it happened, his whole world imploded. He had married his college sweetheart, I think like 6 or 7 months prior. All of a sudden, he was downsized from his job, and his wife left him for another man, and he was devastated. We had met one time. He had actually interviewed me for Glenn Beck, and he was a friend on Facebook, and he reached out to me, and I felt very motivated to respond to him. And I said, listen, here's how I can help you. He asked me for advice. I said, well, I can't give you advice in 5 minutes that's going to change everything for you, but if you will work with me for a little bit of time, I can help you. And so he came into my coaching program. At the time, it was called Inner Circle. So he came into my inner circle. Within 6 months, he had a #1 best-selling book. He had high-paying clients. He was already, at that point now, 6 months into it, had hit the 6-figure mark. Within a couple of years, he hit the 7-figure mark. I was just texting with him the other night. He said, I'm about 6 months away from hitting 8 figures. Now, he said to me, Coach Tam, you changed my life. He said, I can't believe the life that I'm living now because of you. I said, not entirely, because you implemented what I told you to implement, and you've had longevity. So one final thought before I pass off to my co-host is that even if you get quick success, you're going to have to keep going. If you hit a slump, the way to break that slump is certainly not to quit. That's the way to ensure failure, okay? So we're going to have to learn as entrepreneurs how to push past the things that discourage us. We're going to have to learn how to adjust our own mindset and heart set so that we are just masters of perseverance. And I think that's one of the greatest things, even beyond income, that we can learn as business owners is the skill of perseverance, the capacity for tenacity, stickability, not being moved off our mark. And it's a good thing for us to know as Christians as well. All right, Zack and Jillian, I'm going to pass off to you.
Yeah, I love that, Coach Tam. Such wisdom and experience in there. You know, one thing I think this topic is, I'm trying to wrap my mind around what direction to go, because it's like advice for startups, advice for scalers. And what I'll start with is actually differentiating the two, because those are not the same thing. To me, a startup is somebody who's just getting started. and the one thing is product market fit. Okay, so product market fit. Like Coach Tam said, you need to have a product. You need to have something to sell. You need to have clarity on who you're going to sell it to. So product market fit, that's kind of like, like business jargon, right? That's like a business term is product market fit. Like that's the thing that a startup needs. Like if there's one thing that a startup needs is product market fit, a product that is an irresistible offer to a specific person that if they get this product in front of enough people in the market, we're in business, right? Now we have a business, right? Now we actually have a business. We don't just have an idea. So what a startup is looking for is product market fit. And what a scaler is looking for is systems. Okay, like that's really what scalers need are systems and using leverage, using team, using different strategies and tactics to scale. So I just want to differentiate those two and maybe, tell me in the chat based on that definition of like, hey, what do you need right now? Do you need product market fit or do you need systems? Just tell me in the chat from our live students here, startup or scaler? Where are you at? Startup or scaling? Startup or scaler? All right, and we got both, right? So Helene's first in the chat as a startup, Carol's next in as a scaling. We got a good mix, right? So our KBA students, we've been doing this a long time. So we've got people who are brand new. We've got people who are 5-10 years in. So we kind of have that mix, right? Of startup versus scaling. So the startup needs to be focused on product market fit. Scaling needs to be focused on systems. So let's just differentiate those two. Let's identify what we actually need. And here's something about offers in particular, because again, we need a product, we need an offer. And I think something that is helpful to recognize where you're at is that if you are a startup, you need an irresistible offer. If you are a scaler, you need a scalable offer. And you can have offers that are both, but they're kind of two different things. And I think too many startups, what I see from a lot of students who come into Kingdom Builders Academy is they come in with like a scaler mindset. Like I need an offer that's going to scale to $10 million or $100 million. And that's beautiful, right? And I love the vision, but what you need right now is an irresistible offer to establish product market fit. Okay. And then you can turn an irresistible offer into a scalable offer. But if you come in with, oh, I want a scalable offer, something that I could put 100 people into, 1,000 people into, 10,000 people into, that's probably not going to be the offer that you need to sell right now. You need to come up with something that's a little bit more irresistible, something that maybe requires a little more hands-on, requires a little more done for you or done with you service, maybe a little bit more of one-on-one consulting, coaching, or support, right? Like that's something that becomes much more irresistible and is going to give you a lot better opportunity to establish product market fit, which is your one thing right now. And then once you've done that, we can take your product, we can take the fit, we can take the marketing and the messaging and the offer, and we can tweak it to become something scalable, right? Like Coach Tam, you started with your 12 students and, you established product market fit and you had an irresistible offer, but it wasn't a scalable offer. But that's what you needed in that season. If you came in with a scalable offer, offering this, double degree program to hundreds and thousands of people, right? That wouldn't have been the right offer at the right time. So I think it's important to just differentiate the two of, startup and scaler and just, hey, which one am I? And based on that, what do I need to focus on right now? Is it a product market fit with an irresistible offer, or is it systems with a scalable offer? So I think, let's just kind of set the chessboard up and see like, hey, what is the right strategy for us? Where are we at in the journey? And I think that's, a good place to begin processing where you're at and what to do next. But honey, you have been around business your whole life. I know you didn't grow up in an entrepreneur home like I did, but right out of college, you started your own media company. You've managed real estate teams. You've been a part of bunches of other businesses. When we talk about startups, when we talk about scaling, what comes to mind for you?
Girl Scout cookies. I was thinking about my very first business as a brownie. I was a brownie, and I was reading today scripts for selling Girl Scout cookies. Now, you want to talk about some hard-earned dough, sell yourself some Girl Scout cookies. I remember when I first became a brownie, I was like first or second grade. I don't know if Coach Tam was ever a brownie. Okay. They've been around for a long time. Okay. I'm just saying the Girl Scouts of America, I am not promoting them and I am not promoting them. Okay. This is just a story about me as a brownie. And I remembered earning patches. And I remember the sash, and I remember all the different things that you were going to do as a Girl Scout. You were going to do a camping thing. You were going to do a community service kind of a thing. There were all these things, and you were in a group, and you were part of a team, and you were going to earn your patches. Does anyone remember selling Girl Scout cookies? Or if you were in the Boy Scouts, I think that was a different adventure. But maybe you had grandkids that sold Girl Scout cookies. Or you remember the Girl Scouts of America coming to your door or your local grocery store. Okay. So I do remember this. And I remember when they had these huge brown boxes that they brought out, and the troop leaders were there, and I didn't know what was happening. And they said, we are going to be selling these cookies. And when we say we mean you. And I was like, I'm going to sell these cookies. And I just saw big, huge brown boxes just piling up. And I mean, I was like 8 or 9. And I just thought, what are you even talking about? And they showed us the badge you were going to get. And then they got out their flip chart and they said, we've got goals, okay? And we're going to teach you how we're going to reach those goals. And they would say, do you want to take the trip to Bloobity Blop? And would you like to earn these prizes? And and everyone was pumped up and ready to go and terrified. We were all just terrified. And they said, but don't worry, because we know exactly how to sell these cookies, and we're going to teach you. We're going to actually show you what you're going to need to do, because your mom cannot sell the cookies for you. Your mom cannot. And because I was thinking, I'm going to tell my mom to take these to work and put them in the break room or something, and I won't even have to say anything to anyone, and these cookies are going to magically disappear. No. The troop leader said, you are going to sell these cookies. You're going to talk to the people. You're going to take the money. You're going to manage the money. You're going to learn about goals. You're going to learn how to hit. And I just thought, well, this is all just too much. I signed up for all the other badges. I'm going to skip this badge. You could not skip. There was no skipping. So I was very nervous, and they said, but we have a script. Today they have scripts to this day, the Girl Scouts of America. Okay. They said, now listen, they said, can we show you the cookies? And they showed us all the boxes, and they looked so good. I can't tell you how many. Have you ever had a Girl Scout cookie? I know they're probably not the best for you. I know, but they're yummy. Have you had a Thin Mint? Have you ever eaten a Thin Mint or a tag along or the peanut butter chocolate one that you put in the fridge and it gets really cold? I see Coach Tam nodding.
Snickerdoodles.
Snickerdoodles. So let me just tell you, these boxes, what I liked is the packaging of the product. People knew what it was. It wasn't a mystery, right? Like, but what are you selling, right? So that helped a lot. It helped that I was set up for success by making sure that what I was selling was easy to understand. It wasn't complicated. It wasn't a mystery. We were selling cookies. Now, I needed to know about the cookies because people had questions. And what about the lemon hoobity bloobity? And what about the snickerty doodly? And we needed to know about the cookies. And then we needed to be prepared with our script, which we were going to memorize, because guess what? Us just standing there saying, but we sell cookies. That might work a little bit, like sometimes, but most of the time people are going to see, well, what can you say? Like, what are your goals? What are your plans? Who are you? Why are you selling these cookies? What's the money going towards? How much are you planning to raise? So we had a script. And do you know, I remember Coach Tam, I remember the troop leader saying, this is your script. And then they printed them out. They handed us the script.
Mimeographs probably back then. Mimeographs.
And they said, fill in your information. Hi, I'm Jill Lewis. I'm part of Troop 637 in Bakersfield, California. And doobity. Our goal is to sell 63 boxes each. I mean, they had the script. You plugged in your information, and they said, because before you were ever going to do the big dream, okay, now hold on. We're going to get to the big dream in a minute. This dream was going to start small. The stream was going to start small. You know why? Because before you could go to the grocery store and more and meet the masses, you know what you were going to have to be able to do? You were going to have to be able to smile and dial. And do you know how you were going to smile and dial? You were going to ring someone's doorbell, okay? Because this is back in like 1990, 1991. And you were going to go with a parent who was going to go with you, and you were going to go one-on-one. And you were going to memorize your script, but you were going to have it near you just you had to whip it out and read it. And you were going to engage one-on-one with your future client. And you were going to I had a little pull wagon and I had all my cookies stacked up, and I was going to learn the art of selling all on my own. Now, I had the support. I had my coach. I had my troop leader. I had a team meeting. I'd been given the product. I'd been given the script, and I was just told, don't deviate from the script. Don't stick to the script. Keep it simple. Don't start rambling, which was good for a kid like me because I could easily go off on a tangent about who knows what. And you can do it on your own. Look them in the face, smile, and just say the script. Just do it. You're good. And I remember being very nervous, Coach Tam, because I just thought the first time I went to the door, I'm like, what if they don't answer? Then I prayed they didn't answer. Then I was afraid they wouldn't like me. What if I messed up the script? What if they didn't want any cookies? I was selling cookies right and left. I had no problem selling cookies. What did I do? I was dressed to impress. I came ready. You got the whole package. I wasn't sloppy. I had my uniform and my mom had my hair pulled back in braids and I was ready. I said my script. I was not embarrassed. I was probably in the beginning, but then I got used to it. And then you're right. You are right. Once you hit your quota, if you sold a certain number of boxes, you got moved to the A team. And the A team was the grocery store and beyond, where you would get to go and set up in front of the store. And there were just dozens and dozens and dozens of clients. And you know what? Those were the girls that were really good because they could handle multiple clients. They weren't thrown off by money coming at them. Well, it says you take only cash, but I've got a check. Can you take a check? No. Yeah, absolutely. We take a check. You can make that check out to Girl Scouts of America. We'll also take your credit card. God only knows how we're going to do that. It's 1991, but we will find a way. And I loved it because it built so much confidence. It was something very small, but I'll tell you, I learned some really valuable lessons way back when that I could still tell you today work. There's nothing wrong with them. You don't need to fix them. If you have a coach, a mentor, a trainer, whoever, KBA is providing that with you. Trust them. They've been selling Girl Scout cookies for a long time. If they give you a script, or they give you a tool, or they give you a process, a plan, they tell you, this is the way this works. This is what we want you to do. Say these words, fill in the blanks, and just go for it. You got to just go for it. You got to stick to the script, trust the coach, trust the system, follow the process. Results will come. Did every person buy cookies from me in the very beginning? The first door, did some doors close without any Thin Mints going inside? Yes. Did that stop me? No, it did not, because I had bigger goals and bigger dreams, and I got more confident the more I did it. And pretty soon, I was me and my sweet little friend Tiffany. We were the top little cookie sales people. We outsold all the brownies, and it was worth it. And it was a good lesson. So just, I would say don't despise small beginnings. And if you have scaled, don't forget to learn how to have a conversation. Don't forget how to be one-on-one. I have seen Coach Tam sell, a lot of money in coaching over guacamole in a Mexican restaurant with really loud music, having a one-on-one conversation. It was never beneath her. It was never beneath her. She never lost the ability to realize, I'm used to talking to 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 people. I'm used to doing, 10 million, 50 million, 100 million. She could also get on the phone and just have a one-on-one conversation. She remembered all the important things. They flowed naturally. It was like a really smooth conversation. And at the end, when she hung up, she was like $20,000 richer just in one conversation with one person. But she knew that the basics were important then, and they would always be important. So that's my advice to you too. If you're scaling and you're flying and you're doing six figures and life is great and grand, that's great. But just remember, people are people, and it's okay. Don't forget the basics. Don't forget how to have those basic conversations one-on-one, and always keep those skills sharp, because you just never know. You never know. You never know where you're going to be, and you might be in a position where you're talking with someone and you might pick up a fantastic client, a dream client, and you're not hiding behind Zoom, and you're not hiding behind a script. You're not hiding behind talking to the masses. It's just you and guacamole and a cell phone. And so that would be, that's all I've got, folks. That's my best advice.
That's a great story, Jillian. As always, you're a fun storyteller, and we love that. You made everybody hungry. The people in the chat now want cookies.
Oh.
So a lot of great lessons there. And I think one thing that we can really draw from that is don't despise the day of small beginnings. And even as you're scaling, don't forget to go back to the basics. I think that a lot of people, what they do is they tend to curse their own success. So they maybe pick up a client or two, or they make a sale or two, but it's not in line with what they want. And so rather than rejoicing about the little bit of success they've already had, they start kicking themselves and say, well, I should have done more. It should have been better. But I want to remind you, beloved, that growth is always a process. Everything big starts out what? Little. Yeah, everything big starts out tiny. We can see that in God's creation. There's not a single animal or plant that begins full blown. It always starts with a seed. It always starts tiny. So when you begin to see that seed growing, what you don't want to do is curse the seed that you planted by saying, I'm not happy with this. I've been working, I've been watering, I've been weeding, and look at this tiny little blade of green that is poking up out of the dirt. You could read the newspaper through that. I mean, all this work for that? No, don't do that, beloved. Don't do that, beloved. I think this is a foundational lesson that we need to come back to again and again, is be very careful about what you say, because your tongue is so very close to your brain and to your heart. And so we want to celebrate our successes. We want to celebrate our wins. That's one of the great things about the community of Kingdom Builders Academy, is that we've got a place to share not only our struggles, but also our celebrations. And we say, we're going to celebrate everything. You've had a book in your heart for 20 years and you wrote your outline. Yay. You didn't write it for 20 years before, but you've written it now. You picked up your first client. Maybe it wasn't a $2,000 client. Maybe it was a $500 client. Yeah, you got your first client. That's awesome. And I think even as we scale, that's important too. It's important to celebrate those little wins. One thing that Zack had said about systems for scaling, I think one of the things that we need to think about, especially in the space as influencers, is putting together offers. Like Zack said, there's a lot of touch points that may be necessary in the beginning, that as you're scaling, you want to kind of scale back on those touch points too. You still want to put together a very exciting offer that creates transformation in people's lives, but you don't have the same bandwidth when you're dealing with 100 clients or 1,000 clients that you do when you're dealing with a half dozen clients, right? So you want to think about how do I create systems within my business and within my deliverables that don't require as much of me. So one of the things in our space, for instance, is I'm going to want to move you from one-on-one coaching to group coaching as soon as reasonably possible, because now you're getting your time back. All right, Zack, I'm going to leave you with the last words as we wrap up here.
Yeah, we'll just wrap on that. I mean, I love the stories, Coach Jillian. I love the wisdom, Coach Tam. I think this was an excellent topic. So thank you guys for tuning in to the Kingdom Builders Academy podcast, and we will see you again next time. Bye, everybody.
Hi, this is Tamara Lowe, founder of Kingdom Builders Academy, here with a free gift for you, our loyal podcast listeners. We're giving away free copies of my newest book, Business Plus Ministry Equals Success, a superior model to profitably change your world. You can download your free copy right now at kbabook.com. kbabook.com. That's kbabook.com. Thanks for tuning in to the Kingdom Builders Academy podcast today. Join us again for our next exciting episode.